project. It is Svetlana.
Hello. Can you all see my screen now?
Yeah, yes, you're online with your screen, actually.
Okay, perfect. So let me just introduce myself and our company a little bit. My name is Svetlana, and I'm a co-founder of UVL Robotics. We are a US-based company with the R&D center in Russia, specialized on logistics solution based on drones. And there are two, currently we manage two business lines. One is the automated warehouse inventories using drones, and the other business line is drone deliveries. And our company was founded a couple of years ago by our CEO, Evgeny Grankin, and CTO, Dmitry, who have a combined experience in logistics and in automation. So I just quickly move on to the business and the presentation. So the key highlights about our company was founded in 2018, and we're specializing in drone services in logistics. We have around 40 clients, active clients today in Moldova, some of the Middle East countries, Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia, with the main concentration of customers in Russia at the moment. And there are two value propositions for the business. As I mentioned, one is the fully autonomous drone solution, which flies about 150 kilometers with a 10 kilos payload. That's the delivery part. And we have done the first commercial deliveries in the Middle East with Oman Post and the Asiat Group, and scheduled another pilots for this year with about 10 companies, including Posting Group, Oman Post again, and some other companies in Europe and the Middle East. I'll move on later to the solution about the delivery. So the other business is autonomous inventory counts, where we have already a more mature business and a larger customer base, and we already have some major 3PL companies and large FMCG organizations such as PepsiCo, Toyota, Kuehne+Nagel, FM Logistics. So quickly we'll talk about the drone deliveries and the solutions that we provide for the business today. So our drones are built in-house, and they have a very high endurance. We managed to achieve about 150 kilometers distance and up to 10 kilos of payload for the drone. That is just a hardware. Has been tested with several companies. We assemble the hardware in-house and we test it in-house. We use some third-party softwares to manage the flight route and manage the flight authorizations, but that's the hardware. That's just one part of our delivery business. So we also have a solution in process that will include the sports, the set of sports and strategically located parcel lockers within the city limits. But that solution is not mentioned in this presentation because the solution is still in the development and doesn't have a solid traction. However, this is our new business, and we are trying to develop it, and we're trying to reach into the agreement with several companies like UPS and DHL to be able to show the clear traction on that. It's still in the R&D and pilot stage, but we estimate that their total addressable market within the next 5 years will be around 30 billion, with a CAGR of about 20%. And if you have known or if you have researched the drone delivery companies before, there are several traction of good examples of the companies such as Zipline or Matanet. For example, Zipline today has valued at 1.2 billion and successfully managed the delivery operations in 2 Africa countries, in Rwanda and Ghana, with about combined 35,000 deliveries per day. So the drone delivery concept worldwide is still in the early development stage, and the regulations around drone deliveries is still in the formation stage. So we're trying to get in this arena, and we have already signed an agreement with the Oman Post to test our solution. So we think that we are on the right track. In terms of the commercial traction, it is just pilots, the paid pilots, but not the signed contract with the specific company, only the MOUs at this stage. So this is about our delivery business. I will move on to our inventory counts because that business is more mature. It has clearer traction and more customers on the pipeline. So I would start with the problem of the traditional inventory methods that the industry has today. In the warehouse, the typical inventory takes about 3 days. That's using the lifting equipment and the human labor. So on average, the organization spends about 3 days. It completely stops the warehouse operation to do the inventory. It hires a lot of people, and it rents an expensive equipment. For the people to be able to go up the shelves and calculate and check the number of pallets, on average, this will take about $500,000 per one inventory cycle. And it's not very safe because it possesses certain risks for the labor. It also stops the operations of the company for the entire 3 days because the warehouse is closed. So therefore there are no goods coming in and no goods coming out. So that results in the opportunity costs of about $5 million per company per one inventory cycle. That's just the industry average numbers. So our solution provides the inventory count using drones. That means that completely excludes the human factor from the inventory because the drones flying around the racks and then counting the pallets. And with some of our clients, we estimated that it's around 50 times faster and 10 times cheaper and much more accurate to calculate the pallets using drones. So how the technology works, there is a certain data set in the drone that allows to calculate the pallets, take the images and analyze certain data in the real time and transmit that data into the WMS and ERP systems of the clients. It is completely safe because humans are not present there. It's much faster and cheaper because the heavy equipment is excluded from the process. So if we compare the average parameters of our solution with the industry methods, to say that calculation of one pallet takes about 3 seconds, with our solution around 250 seconds using the human labor. The costs are about a half on average, and of course there is no frozen inventory because on average, if the inventory cycle takes 3 days for the company, using our solution would take about half the day. And the data accuracy is much better because drones just take the calculation and the data. Unlike when the humans calculate the pallets, they can make errors, they can miss the pallet, or they can miscalculate the certain data. In terms of their total addressable market, we estimated this to be around $6 billion. And we have a very simple business model. It's a service business model, and we charge per pallet. So the average check from the client will be around $10,000 per the inventory cycle. The inventory on the average company is conducted on the quarterly basis. So the multiplier for our business would be the number of pallets and the number of inventory cycles, and of course the size of the warehouses. Our key markets at the moment are United States, Germany, UK, and China to address. We have already established our entity in the United States, and we are in process of signing the first contracts and MOUs with the key 3PL operators. We just entered one of the largest US startup accelerators called Alchemist, where we would use that as a starting platform to expand our US customer base and investor base. So this is just a quick traction summary from one of our clients. We are working globally with iAngel to implement this solution. FM Logistics, DHL and UPS is not mentioned there because we're still in the discussion stage with them. We have gotten to the agreement with the Asiat Group, which is the largest logistic group of Oman, of the state of Oman, Sultanate of Oman, where we do some tests in warehouse and drone delivery solutions. We got into the agreement with the Posti Group. It's the government-owned Finnish logistics group. Have Logistics, one of the European 3PL operators. We have gotten to the agreement with Toyota to implement our solutions on global level of Toyota warehousing processes. Right now, we're doing the services for them in Russia. PepsiCo is one of our largest 3PL and FMCG clients, where we also have we manage their inventory cycles in Russia and planning to expand this globally to using this traction in Russia to leverage this and scale these operations for other PepsiCo entities worldwide. Unilever is also one of our FMCG clients. So that's just the highlights. Some words about our team. Our founder, Evgeny, has around 10 years of experience in supply chain and warehousing management. He has been leading the supply chain in Shell and managed around 40 warehouses was under his management. That's how we got into the inventory business because he understands the process very well. Our CTO has been working with UAVs in the leading research Russian center for about 10 years and managed various projects. Myself, I've been working with UPS in DHL for over 10 years, mainly managing their operations in the Middle East and Africa. And we have a lead engineer for our inventory solutions, who is working on expanding the features of the inventory. So right now our inventory can do only the pallet counting, but in future, and this is planned to be commercialized in Q2 of 2021, the drones will be able not only to count pallets, but they will be also able to identify objects. What that means is today the drone can scan the barcode of the pallet, but in our latest development, it will be able to see the objects. For example, if there is an area with a lot of items with no barcodes or with no any recognition mark, it will be able to see the object and count the object and yeah, so that will open more possibilities for us. And the most important, we will be able to enter the e-commerce market because e-commerce has a lot of volume stored, not in the pallets or not in the very structured and organized manner. So that's how we will use the object recognition to enter that market.
Svetlana, maybe we go to the question.
Yeah, sure.
Actually,
I'm basically done. Sorry to take.
I have a question, Svetlana. If you can mention to audience something about your price strategy, your competitive analysis regarding drone itself, because you are a manufacturer,
Right.
and how it's differentiate you from other companies.
So it's a very good question. First of all, unlike other companies that use third-party drones to download the software and use it there are several companies in the market that do the inventory, but the main difference is that their drones are third-party drones, for example, DJI or others. And they just adjust them based on the industry needs. Our drones are manufactured in-house, so they are completely tailored to the inventory solution. Our software also developed and done in-house. All the R&D is done in-house, and yeah, and we already have a very clear traction with the customers, unlike other companies that do drone it.
Okay, Svetlana, please close your presentation.
Sure.
Cool. And what is your exit strategy?
Well, there are several exits that we can think of at the moment. There is no one way of doing this. So I would say it would be 60% M&A from the large 3PL operator. And maybe the rest would be IPO within the next 3 to 4 years.
All right, I've got a question. So, in inventory management, definitely is not an area of expertise. It is more trying to understand the industry itself. So you mentioned that these warehouses usually do quarterly inventories. So I would
Correct.
assume that essentially what happens, like product comes in, comes out, you have kind of like an estimate of what you have, and you true it up and adjust it to what it really is every 3 months. In an ideal scenario, you would have kind of like a live inventory, like accurate inventory 24/7. So rather than trying to sell a product that only gets used once a quarter, I wonder if there's a better way of just doing something where like they're able to run inventories every week, you know, just as a way of like, you actually, there's got to be some value derived by the client from having a more up-to-date inventory constantly, as opposed to like every 3 months. That may be an interesting value to calculate, just so you can upsell more than just a quarterly basis.
Yeah, this is true. This is true, and the quarterly inventory cycle, we just taken it as an average to be able to estimate the value and the revenue sources and build a P&L based on that projections. But you're referring now to the cycle inventories that happens every now and then in the warehouse operations. That's absolutely correct. And as I mentioned, we are extending our technology because the cycle inventory usually involves the identification of the small objects or the objects that are not palletized. And for that, we use the machine learning technology to be able to identify these objects, let's say in the picking areas or somewhere. And that would be very applicable to the operations that you have just mentioned.
And then also trying to understand so you mentioned like this works for barcodes and
RFID tags,
etc.
Yeah.
If you have it for RFID, do you really need the drone? Could you just have like static sensors throughout the warehouse that occasionally just kind of like ping and, you know, figure out which RFIDs come back? Or I don't know, I'm just trying to understand like if perhaps there's even a combination of drone and static sensors that would work for warehouses that actually use a lot of RFIDs.
Possible, but because the RFID technology is not that yet implemented across supply chain in the industry, so I would rate its adoption rate of about 30% at the moment, and therefore warehouses and facilities of many companies are not fully equipped at this stage for the RFID technology. Therefore, drones would be a temporary solution until all warehouses in the world are fully automated. But the fully automated warehouses in the world now comprise about just 3 to 4% because it's very expensive to fully automate the warehouse. So,
and then in terms of the revenue model, so right now you're charging kind of like a fee for per pallet.
Correct.
Have you considered, I don't know, like, I mean, of course, right now you're like still getting new clients and growing, I'm assuming at a fairly fast pace for your stage. but have you considered potentially doing something once, of course, once you have more funding so you can afford this, but doing something that is cost-based? So where you say like, okay, we're gonna implement this for you for a very low upfront cost, but then we get you know, like an estimated like 30% of the savings, we keep that. So it's an opportunity where you could potentially make more money by partnering with them, and also like get more clients, because then the risk is lower for them. But I just don't know how easy it is to estimate these cost savings upfront to be able to go with confidence and address that.
So right now we just use the industry average numbers and successful use cases that we already have with our clients. But our long-term and short-term expansion strategy is to be able to get into the partnership with the largest 3PL operators. There's DHL, supply chain, and we identified a list of 30 largest 3PLs that manage about 60% of the worldwide warehousing. So once we got into the partnership agreements with them on the global level, we would be able to identify their needs very clear and develop the strategy for each.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. I don't want to monopolize the questions.
But thank you. Those are very good questions.
Svetlana, do you integrate with ERP systems of the clients you do inventory for? Do you have some kind of API developed or stuff like that, both for inventory and delivery, actually, and how do you plan to go about it?
So for the inventory, that's an excellent question also. That's I love that question because yes, for inventory, we have at the moment a set of very basic API channels where the data can be transmitted into the WMS and ERP in a format of Excel spreadsheet. So with more funding and with more capabilities and with the clear needs from each client, we will be able to expand that set of API channels to have a more, let's say, capabilities and more data to be transmitted into the ERP. Same for delivery as well.
Okay, and so, another question I had is, how different are your clients' business processes in different geographies? Because most of them are global companies, and how easy or hard is it, in your view, to scale from pilots in one country to maybe a subsequent rollout in the in other locations, and ultimately, you know, taking over as a main inventory supplier for a given major?
So that's a great question also. We have developed a clear strategy on that. So we do initiate the discussions with the companies on the global level rather than doing this on the country level. So we initiate the discussions on the global level using a 10+ stakeholder engagement, where we find at least 10 stakeholders within one organization that we speak with and trying to implement the technology using the successful examples on the country level. Let's say we have done a successful pilot with PepsiCo in Russia, and this has been already the proven case. We take that case and we speak to the stakeholders on the global level. Same works with 3PL operators like Kunenagel, UPS, and DHL. We work on the stakeholders on the global level. And in my practice, when you implement the technology using the stakeholders that are responsible for the operations globally, if they will see that this is successful, they will make sure that this technology will be implemented across other countries of the company. If that answers your questions.
Yeah.
Yes, guys.
Perfectly.
Yeah, I have 5 minutes for the last question. We can move on. Evgeny, are you ready? Or Marcus?
Hi, yeah, Marcus will deliver the pitch. Marcus, are you in? Let me check.
This is Marcus here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Marcus.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear now.
Very good. Very good. So let me share the screen then.
That was and video too.
Can you see something now?
No.
Okay, just a second.
Yes, and plus your video too.
Let me try something because I'm on another computer here and
Because of
let me see
robots
here.
and drones.
Can you see now?
Yes.
And what about now?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so excellent. So I'm just gonna present it then from here. So let me see if it works. Can you see that screen?
Yes.
All right. So thank you very much, first of all, for giving us this opportunity to run a short pitch about our company. We are a Finland-based company. Actually, the official name of the company is Battery Intelligence LLC, or limited liability company, and the trade name is Bamomas. And what we do is that we bring intelligence to industrial battery fleet. So we operate within these industrial battery equipment, such as forklifts, trains, locomotives, golf carts, in boats, all kind of equipment with industrial batteries. Let me see here. So first of all, in terms of the whole industrial battery industry, it's important to understand that it's not comparable to traditional car battery. It's more bigger in size, much more expensive, ranging from 1,000 to 5,000 per battery, with a weight that can go even up to 1 ton. So it's completely different in comparison to the traditional car batteries. And what is then the problem that we are actually trying to solve within this market space is that these batteries that
Marcus.
I believe it's cutting.
Voice. Yes, Marcus.
Marcus, you're cutting. We
Can
can't
you
hear you, Marcus.
see all right. So thank you very much, first of all, for giving us this opportunity to run a short pitch about our company. We are a Finland-based company. Actually, the official name of the company is Battery Intelligence LLC. Company, and the trade name is Bamomas. And what we do is that we bring
Okay.
Sorry for some technical issues. I think there is.
Yeah, maybe they moved to the surrogate.
Sorry?
Can you hear me now?
No, something with the connection.
Okay. Manana, let us do the next thing. We will try to fix privately with Marcus his connection, okay?
Mhm.
Okay, good. Hold the next one. There is. Marcus.
Oh,
Keep doing it.
let me try another line.
No, Marcus, let like after the surrogate. Okay, are you ready?
Okay. Okay.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Sergey Denokov. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to present my ideas, my company, what we are doing. And let me share a pitch. I have recorded on a video, so let me share the screen. Do you see a picture?
Yes. I mean the same.
Okay, sorry. Today it looks like some magnetic field interfering in our today's conversation. Sergey, can you please start your pitching, because we don't hear your voice actually. We only can see the presentation. Can you please do it?
Again.
Yes, please.
Okay.
No, I think like the Sergey, the main problem, something wrong with your video, and maybe you can explain without the video.
Okay, I can. Okay, I will show by slideshow. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you see pictures?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
And what about the voice? It's okay?
Everything okay.
Okay, so let me do it online. So I'm Sergey Denokov. I'm from Vilnius, Lithuania, from small country in Baltic Sea coast in Europe. I hope everybody knows that. So we are working on a market of fully autonomous drone systems. It's quite aggressive and huge market that is estimated at $20 billion and consists of two segments where we work. It's drone delivery and agricultural drones. Drone systems are not products in itself. They create new workplaces around the world and inject tens of billions of dollars in the economy. But unfortunately, currently we are surrounded by selfish drones, selfish pets. We should control manually and change their batteries manually, bring to stage and take care about them. Some advanced drones, like a drone in a box, spend half their lives in charging mode in their hangars. So currently, future of truly industrial applications are vacant. And battery exchange issue is a key problem on this switch from the professional to industrial applications, where drones itself care about the batteries and payloads without any human activity. And we have a elegant solution for this problem. We converted passive batteries into self-propelled carts that drive itself to the drone and back to the charger. And payloads like cameras, scanners, whatever spray modules for precision farming share the same railroad infrastructure and can reach the drone and service modules on a ground station by their own. Additionally, once we start talking about fully autonomous systems without human help and aid, drones should carefully and reliably integrate into ground station. For that, we use our patented landing platform that use 2 spirals that in 3 turns of spirals reliably align drone into ground station, integrate rail system of the drone into rail system of the ground station. And because we have a railroad, we are compatible with existing warehouses and logistic centers worldwide. So we can integrate drones into real commercial processes right now. And another feature is that payload should be accessible for managing it. So, and our solution is so nice that it opens access to the payload from 5 sides, from the bottom and from 4 sides. And bottom is very useful to charging spraying modules by gas and liquid, or spreading modules by some granular materials, etc. And side access is good for delivery applications. So our solution is exact fits to the demand. It offers a universal and modular construction of the system. It's extremely low capex and low opex solution. Integrates with warehouses. And so our product is universal infrastructure and services based on that. And we see the main areas where we work is the precision farming. Once again, it's $5 billion market worldwide. And drone delivery, that's much more. It's at least 3 times bigger than precision farming. It's a drone delivery. But there are some aspects of regulations, how drones can fly it in autonomous mode, how far they can do that. So we see that real deployments in precision farming will start earlier in the next year, and drone delivery applications will need 1-2 years more to when we see the real applications in the world. And our technology is quite nice. That the hardware and software, it means the technology background is at least 80% the same. So once we implement something in the precision farming, we can demonstrate and implement delivery applications as well. So we don't have any direct competitors. That's nice, and but we feel the pressure, at least at the beginning, from the drone in the box. It's application when drone stays in their own hangar, charge the batteries, and then fight on demand. And okay, it's not scalable applications, but it has some niche on the market, and for some monitoring, surveillance applications, etc. And on the other side, we see that some big players like Amazon at least try to implement robotic arms applications for changing batteries. And here we also have some benefits against that, because as I will show later, we can do it at least 5 times cheaper. So let's compare. So let's compare drone in the box with our application. So
I'm so sorry, but maybe we can just finalize and go to the next questions.
So,
okay.
Okay.
And can you please just clarify to the people what is your current stage? So it's the concept, it's drawing, or you have something?
No, okay, let me shortly pass the slides. I will do it faster. So it's real, it's not utopia. That's the name, the Robotopia.
Okay.
We have real prototypes of batteries, they work, and we have a drone that can carry 10 kilograms of payload, and it's integrated in the ground stations that we also have. We have battery charging units. We have a landing platform that is compatible with agricultural applications. And okay, we have battery solution, and the landing platform is patent pending stage with positive feedback. And we have 2 patents for spraying systems. And we found first pilot project in Baltic states with for spraying 30,000 hectares that will generate a revenue on 3 million euros per season. It needs such amount of money. We would do it in 1.5 years. And it will consist of 10 stations with 20 drones. That's a split of investments for the purposes. It's a sales plan. We see the good chance to sell the business and the technical solution to the biggest players. Or we can split company into service company in the separate business, and we see it's a very good chance, even just in Europe, for this. Once we start and we implement pilot application for agriculture, we will aggressively come to the drone delivery market. We have a strategy for that, and we can discuss it also. And for Arabic countries, it's smart city trend is quite high, and we have something to offer there. So that's a small roadmap team. So that's it.
Okay.
Yes, please close your presentation, Sergey.
Should I stop the sharing?
Please, yes. Okay, let's move on. The main question: what is your strategy? Because it was like the IPO or something like you want to work with. What is your exit strategy?
Okay, okay. Best strategy is IPO, but at least for agriculture applications, that is smaller than delivery applications, we have a good chance to just have a own running service company with quite big income, and you can become one of the top players in European Union.
Nice.
Because we offer the way how to cover the lands with extremely cheap ground infrastructure that is used by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, we should implement nice multi-station, multi-drone pilot projects. Then market will go much faster for us. We have discussions with Lithuanian past, with DPD, even managers, and so there is a extremely good interest.
Stop sharing your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Marcus, please stop sharing your presentation.
Yeah. So, how do you deal with the insurance companies? Because you know, it's a new technology, and I'm just curious what insurance companies think about that, and also when it comes to weather, what is your weather operating temperatures, wind resistance, you know, waterproofing, all that? Is it capable in flying in all these conditions? And yeah, basically that's it.
Yes. Okay. We had a preliminary discussions with insurance company available in our country, in Lithuania. Okay, but they're mostly European, no local ones. So they are ready to insure the civil risks. It's not a problem, and that's additional cost. Because of that, we'll still be in a good margin for the business. And what is good with automotion flight is that we can fly at night when the wind is much less aggressive, less temperature impacts on the drones, and it's what is more important, it's very relaxed for the crops itself, so they can sink the chemicals much easier, and so it's for the agricultural applications. Our existing drone, I should mention that we are focusing on the infrastructure. We are open for third-party developers, drone manufacturers. Other companies can create units for our ground stations, not a problem. So if somebody can do, and definitely someone can do much better drones than we, like DJI and other players, it's not a problem. They can be integrated in our system if they are compatible with quite basic connectivity for batteries and the railroads. So current drone, it can operate up to, it was tested at 58 degrees, and all electronics is in the at least automotive, industrial and automotive grade. So it works up to 80, and drone itself works up to 105 degrees. So, and regarding the electromagnetic influence, drone has optical fiber network, and all electronics is screened, and even power lines in the thermal alloys covered. So we are sure that we can even show some applications even for the military applications. Okay, we are not focusing on that, because once coming in that area, we cannot return back easily to the commercial applications. But still, I personally had a good background for industrial systems, so I know how to do that, and engineers do work quite good. As to wind and for ground stations, not a problem at all. It can be any let's say surrounding stuff. Landing platform is flat. That is very good for and it's in comparison to most of other competitors, like in drone in a box. Drones land on a flat surface, just spirals 2 centimeters height are rotating over. That's it. So but drones, it's just a drone, and we have the same initial conditions like any other manufacturer. I hope that what is important for landing and for the takeoff, we don't need a GPS at all. Our platform is marked special way. It's not 2D codes. It's a special linear codes from the same materials like traffic signs are done worldwide. It's very reliable. It's seen from the very high sky. And once drone detects the landing platform, it gets orientation, distances, everything just from this. So we can land even in big caves or between the high skyscrapers and even interference cannot create a disaster or some cases for us.
Thank you. I know that Ivan, if you hear, you have the similar project and similar company and solution in your portfolio. Can you please ask the questions if you're able?
And after that, please, and Daniel.
Sure, I'm here, but I can start my video. Says that I need permission from an organizer to do so.
Okay, guys.
So mainly, I wanted to clarify the roadmap. I mean, you say that you seems like you have the solution almost ready, but you expect deployment in the first market in 18 months. So what are you planning to do in those 18 months? And how far along are you with the first paid pilot or first commercial contract, the 3 million euros that you mentioned in the deck?
More question. Thank
you. Yes. So we have infrastructure ready, so we can clone it in any quantities. So it's the more quantities, the cheaper it is. But for precision farming, we have a special patented weight for spraying module for drone that is based on compressed air, and we need to make it real. We have just a prototype on a test bench. It's not on a drone itself still, and but it takes a few months only. Then we need at least four months for certifying the drift, chemical drift. It's done in Germany. It takes time, and just some clarification about drift. That pesticides, it's a poison, so it's very dangerous stuff for the people and the environment. And there are strict rules how far wind can carry the vapor drops of the pesticides away from the field. So it should be certified. Once it is certified, we are open for all Europe. And the same certification quite works well in Australia even.
Okay, but you have already commitment or MOU signed with the
Yes, we
companies.
have a letter of intent for 30,000 hectares.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a client that can buy this service, but it buys service. Okay, because they already buy service from sprayer companies. They won't just switch to the precision farming. Sorry.
We will like to hear more questions.
So do you have the drone ready and flying, and how many hours of flight has it now has on record? I mean, the drone that the platform that you are going to use to then spray in the quantities that imply this €3 million revenue.
Okay, so drone itself flight about 1,200 hours, but it's not a lot of time. But we spent a lot of tests for precision landing and takeoff. That is most important for us. And it was done at least 6,000 tests in the air and in the lab. So we are quite sure that we can land and take off and change the batteries quite reliably. Because we didn't focus too much on a flying itself, because even $20 drones from China fly quite well.
Sergey, one more question. You can connect and cooperate with other batteries producers. You have your own batteries, or
okay, got it. We don't produce batteries. We use standard batteries from lithium-ion manufacturers, lithium batteries. We just integrate it in a small case that has own propulsion systems. It's like a small, tiny toy car. You put a battery inside, and that's it. So, and that's also good because we can adjust system to any size of the battery. It can be quite small, it can be big, so it doesn't matter.
I got a question, kind of like this, more about focus of the company, because I see like 3 distinct focus areas in the company. On one side, you have, of course, the drones. This may be something that you just go, like, as you mentioned, you just outsource it, get like some drones from China or something, and then just adapt them to the system. Second is the battery stations, which I think is definitely game changer in terms of, you know, giving this like the proper industrial scalability. So I think that's actually like a very strong area. And then third is the use cases, which you mentioned, the drone farming. So I think from these 3, like at least from my perspective, what I want to see more is kind of like what is the area of focus? Do you want to build drones? Do you want to build battery systems that scale up, or are you trying to just go on and apply a use case? And it may be the case that some of those go hand in hand, but I think like if there is a way of, for example, having the battery system be universal, so you can apply to multiple different drones, or at least some applicable drones, that's ideal.
Okay, our vision is to focus on infrastructure only. Only. It means that we don't want to produce drones. We know that a lot of companies who can do that much better. And moreover, our system compatible with helicopters, multi-rotors, and vertical takeoff and landing with fixed wings devices. So, and it would be nice to have wide mesh of ground stations that can support all these devices. And it works nice for delivery. It nice for precision farming, maybe some for defense applications as well. So no sense to focus on the drones. But from the coming to the market point of view, we decided to create real use cases in precision farming because of the much relaxed regulations there, and we have a potential partner for that with a letter of intent, and we can demonstrate this how it works. And moreover, these applications in the precision farming can generate a real income. And once it grow up, we can just separate it from the technological, let's say, infrastructural business.
Okay, great. Okay, that really helps to clarify. Thank you very much. That actually makes a lot of sense. I like it.
Because now coming to some companies like Amazon, Walmart, and or US Americanos in Brazil. It's real potential clients for us. But saying that, okay, we have some couple of systems, blah, 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 so it's not serious. Let's say we can sell nothing in this case. So that's a plan to come through the precision farming.
Yeah, and then that's a huge use case. And if you say you've got the connections, then by all means, that should be your entry to the market.
Yes, and even if you fail in the drone delivery, that is really piece of cake in future, we still have, let's say, something real in hands, let's say. And I want to mention that our patent covers not only aerial devices. So it is compatible, it's for unmanned devices in general. And for delivery applications, the same ground infrastructure can handle and last mile ground robots as well. That's quite, it's very attractive.
Okay, guys. Peter, do you have a question?
Well,
yes, please.
I'd actually have some questions, but someone, Dan, I think he actually asked him exactly the same question. Basically, what I am planning to establish small cities in, multiple places around the world is basically the logistics is one of the key. And we are basically facing some local regulations, and also the guidelines. So those are the one of the things that we actually deal with at the moment. So based on Tech Sandbox, we are running and operating here in New York City and London, and we are scouting the companies who have the source technologies based on the payloads and drone systems, and also the mapping systems as well, and also the adjustable drone system connecting with any other the logistics platforms. So I think that maybe if your business plan and model will be really fit into our business model here in the small city projects, and for example in Hanoi, Vietnam, and also the Belarus and Ukrainian small city projects, that might be really good. So also we see that a lot of opportunities is throughout the agricultural platforms, and we can actually mingle with the drone systems into it. We are also thinking about the ROIs and investing in those drone systems alone, or maybe combinations with the business model and technology solutions with other platforms as well. So I just enjoyed the hearing your presentation.
Yes, I think it could be quite interesting to continue discussion and share the ideas and connecting points how we can work together.
After that, yeah, absolutely. Okay, one more question, or we can go to the Marcus speech. Okay, we're good. Marcus?
Okay, anyway, I should say thank you for everybody. So it was a good opportunity to present something
yes,
to you. So
I give you introduction to Peter. Will be amazing. Okay, Marcus, are you ready?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, now you're perfect.
Without the video, without.
I'm so sorry because I was using an old computer and it started making stupid.
No, please stop this. Only.
Okay, so hopefully you can. Let me see here. I'm gonna click on that and then. So let's see if you can get it working now.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, so going back to the introduction. So we are a Finnish-based company called the Moments, and we are focused on industrial batteries and specifically on larger scale batteries can be even in terms of weight and size up to 1 ton in weight, and as I tried to explain in the previous round, these batteries should not be mixed with traditional car batteries, because these are completely different in terms of size and capacity, price, and many other aspects. These type of batteries are being used in different type of equipments, in, for instance, forklifts in warehouses, logistical centers. It can be also even locomotives, golf carts, boats, etc., etc. So there's a big market, and what we are trying to solve in this marketplace is actually the big issue is that these batteries are completely black boxes. They don't have any information. So the lack of information is a big issue that we are trying to address and solve and provide to our customers, and there to create the added value through the information. Also, these batteries are very often actually wrongly used, and this leads to shorter battery lifetime. And also can relate very aggressively in terms of warranty claims and liability issues. And then kind of the third key parameter here in terms of the problem solving space is that all these things, lack of information, wrong usage, bad planning, shorter lifetime, they of course increase the costs, and that's a problem that we're trying to solve by generating more efficiency, cutting costs, and making the business more profitable. And then in terms of the solution, then again, we have this, as you can see on this slide, these blue and red small matchbox-sized sensors that are being attached to these industrial batteries. And these actually are then measuring and collecting data, different parameters such as temperature, voltage, current, even temperature of the battery. And then after this data collecting phase of our solution, the data is then sent over Wi-Fi to our cloud-based AI machine learning focused software analytics dimension, where then the data collected is being more comprehensively analyzed and processed, and through this data then our customers can actually then benefit by increasing the battery lifespan, which is of course an interesting thing, because then you don't have to buy as frequently new batteries, which is a very high capex intensive thing. The other thing is of course then that our customers can cut on maintenance time and efforts, and therefore of course save on costs and expenditures. And then we can also increase the uptime, so that if you have, for instance, a forklift or two forklifts by mistake has been left uncharged and in the middle of the daily operation in a logistical center, for instance, they suddenly have to be put in the charging cradle, then they are out of business, and the operation is not optimal and working on full capacity. So we are actually then also optimizing and increasing the uptime. I would say that the biggest kind of added value is, of course, on top of the data and the data processing and analytics, is that through this solution, our customers can save a lot of money. And in this, I'm not going to go into these details here in this slide, but this is a projection for 100 batteries, and during 5 years, the company can actually save up to 480,000-500,000 euro over a period of 5 years for only 100 batteries. So it's a substantial cost saving element that we generate. how do we then position ourselves on the market space? We are very heavily intelligence on focused, not only monitoring batteries, but also providing intelligence and analytics. And then we are very focused then also on the application side, whereas our competitors, which actually are not that many, we are very few in this field of industry, they are more focused on this R&D type of lab type of analytics, whereas we have more user interface and application-based battery intelligence service. The different market verticals, as I already mentioned a little bit, but are many. But our key market verticals at the moment is material handling, like forklifts. We have railways, locomotives, and utility vehicles and golf carts. But on top of that, there's also other equipment that uses batteries or industrial batteries in their equipments. Very shortly about the market size, we're talking about a 15 billion euro global market size in terms of battery management. And the interesting part on this slide is that if you look at this pie chart on the right, lead acid and nickel cadmium based batteries are still 90% of the market space, whereas only 10% is lithium ion. And this is often mixed with people very easily misunderstand the message and mix this lithium ion to electric vehicles, but we are not talking about electric vehicle batteries. We are talking about industrial batteries, and there the chemistry is completely different, and will actually remain very much focused on the lead acid and nickel cadmium for many years to come, which actually can be seen in this slide on the right-hand side, for instance, only on the forklift battery market. Both lead acid and lithium ion in terms of chemistry are growing, but as you can see on the right chart, the lead acid will still remain the biggest market leader for years to come, and this projection goes to 2026. What is then our business model? We focus now on selling the hardware sensors. That is not actually our core business, but that's a tool to engage ourselves into collecting the data from the batteries. And then the key tool and business model product solution is the software subscription that we then sell to on a monthly subscription basis with different price ranges. Where we are at the moment, as you can see in this slide, we have already we're running 5 different pilot programs. One with Rokla forklift brand, part of Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. We are running a pilot with Russian Railways. It's a huge, interesting pilot program. We are running a pilot also with Handicart, the Dutch golf cart company, and then the biggest Finnish energy consortium called Fortum, some 70 billion euro in top line revenue, recently acquired a German company, energy company called Uniper. So we are also in cooperation with them, and actually planning now to move into then a commercial relationship with Fortum after the pilot that is currently ongoing is being finalized by end of August, and then from there we move into a commercial relationship with them in a larger scale. Then we also have a plan actually then on top of expanding our sales and distribution on a global level, also looking at potentially introducing a new battery as a service solution in 2021 or 2022, and talk more about that a little bit later. Very briefly about the P&L projection and excluding the battery as a service. So we're talking about potentially from 3 years ahead, from 2020 to 2023, potentially generating top line some 16 million euro with EBITDA of almost 8 million. And then if you look at then including the battery as a service, then then of course, then the top line in 2023 is projected to be almost 18 million with an EBITDA of almost 10 million. And what does then the battery as a service concept, the business model mean? Basically, is that we could, on top of our software service, then purchase batteries from large battery manufacturers and lease them out, basically, and then on top of that, include our own battery intelligence software as a service as an additional product in this leasing program. A little bit about the team. We are this is actually the executive team. Pavel, Marek being our CEO, and Yevgeny our CPO, and I'm in charge of the head of business and commercial operations, and then we have Jero in charge of Netherlands and Central Europe. On top of this, we of course also have a number of people in terms of technical teams and development, software engineers, and so forth.
Marcus, I should interrupt you. I'm very sorry. Because we have limited of time, and I think the people, they have general overview about the project, and also I think it's something very private, and we have a lot of stream everywhere in the world. So close this slide. Okay. And we have to go to the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can I just start, please?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you mentioned in one of the early slides that the battery life is 4 to 8 years, and then I didn't understand. You said something after 15 years. Can you please explain that? So 4 to 8 years after 15 years.
What? In one of our slides, I think we have it's in this cost projection slide.
It's the slide with the big picture, big battery picture.
That one. Okay. So let me just grab that one so that I'll follow you on your question here. Not sharing it though. Okay, yeah. So it's a lifetime. It's normally 4 to 8 years, but they can be even up to 15 years if the batteries are managed and handled properly. Very often, unfortunately, the battery lifetime is actually much lower in terms of years because they are being misused and there's no information about the battery. The way they are being used and what is the optimal way to use them. Similar to that of, for instance, mobile phones. Nowadays, you have this analytics in the phones, how to use the phone in the way that extends the battery life. So this is a little bit the same thing that we are providing, but for industrial batteries, and through our service we can help our customers to extend their industrial batteries being used in their equipment.
And what happens after that? What happens after the 4 to 8 years, or let's say 15 years maximum? What do you do with the batteries?
Normally nowadays they are being, of course, scrapped and then they are recycled. Nowadays there are even companies being able to recycle the batteries, but normally they are then scrapped. Depending on of the battery, of course, there's also potential to sell them depending on the condition of the batteries for other purposes. But normally when they are drained out, then they are basically scrapped.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, Daniel and Peter, do you have some comments? What do you think?
Yeah,
how
I actually
US market and for the smart cities too. Yes.
Yeah,
please.
no, definitely. I mean, this applies across like many industries. So I really like the application in general. Question that I have, I briefly saw in your financials. So your main source of revenues, excluding battery as a service, is from the software. So the hardware itself you're selling at cost, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We are not looking at generating any huge gross margins on the hardware itself, because it's only a tool to enable us to collect the data, so to say, and the big business driver comes from the software.
Okay, fantastic. And then you mentioned, you mentioned the future partnerships with battery companies. I'm trying to understand like what. So in the battery as a service, I understand, you know, like if you just buy a bunch of batteries from them and then you just list them out, that's great. Works for them, works for you.
Yeah.
But from an integration point of view, like if you're able to like talk to the battery manufacturer, so they integrate the, let's say the sensors directly into their battery, or they sell them jointly, something like that. I'm just trying to understand from what would be the incentive from the battery company to do this, because essentially that means that their customers would buy batteries less often, or maybe that allows them to charge a little premium because the battery is gonna last more. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Well, that's a very good question, and in a way, it's not only about this cost saving side of it. It's also about warranty claims and liability issues. Even sometimes even accidents happen when the batteries are being unproperly used. So there's also other elements that are of interest. But currently, this type of industrial batteries, for instance, in forklifts, are actually integrated into the forklifts by the forklift manufacturer. So they purchase the batteries from whoever the large battery manufacturers are, and integrate it into their equipment, and then they quite often actually lease the forklift, including the battery. But the interesting thing here is that actually, if you look at the potential exit route to these type of battery equipment, battery manufacturers could actually be one potential exit route, because if they, through our system, can actually optimize the way their batteries are being used, they could also then integrate this type of product solution into their own product offering, and extend the offering, so to say. So that's an interesting route, actually.
Yeah, and then if you were to do something like that, then the other concern is more on the IP protection. Like if you have any patents or something for the sensors, because
we have yes, we have for the sensors, we have a patent, and especially relating to this non-intrusive way of installing the batteries. So we have a patent, yes.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Peter.
Yeah. So patents is actually registered under which country actually doing right now?
Yevgeny, are you still online?
Absolutely, I'm here, yes.
Yeah. So could you comment on the patent in terms of which countries that covers?
It's European.
Europeans.
Yep.
Have you ever just collaborated with the battery manufacturers in Europe?
Not yet. We are actually running our main pilot programs with equipment operators such as forklift brands, the Russian railways, locomotives, golf carts, and even electrical boats. So we have not yet initiated, and that's actually one of our potential target as a next step, is to initiate discussions with battery manufacturers. But we want to first build this firm base with these equipment operators, and then from there expand into battery manufacturers as well.
For example, one of our projects in Hanoi small city, trying to reduce the number of the scooters and motorbikes. Basically, more than 5 million motorbikes in actually running around the cities in Hanoi.
Oh wow! And, there's a huge potential, and that is actually a very, very interesting thing for us to look into the battery manufacturers.
Yeah. So our plan is actually trying to step by step to reducing the the conventional the motorcycle systems into So one of the examples to try to maybe supporting the owner of the motorcycles. We also set up the kind of the central city district where they ban any kind of non-electricity run motorbike systems into the city. And so we're actually in the middle of the creating and establishing a consortium the creating a system so that we can invite the battery manufacturer and data sensors and also the data analytic companies into it. So if you actually have any experience in working with the battery manufacturer or maybe data analytics companies, and might be maybe good positions, we can actually see that.
Yeah, I consider that that's a very interesting route, and we would definitely.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. As for the battery analytics, that's something that we are doing in house, and we have pretty good amount of the battery statistics measured over a long period of time. So we have one commercial pilot, or a small commercial project that we run for more than 2 years, and we have all the data. So we're basically having data scientists in-house, data scientist people in-house. So that's something probably we didn't highlight in full during the presentation.
So your company's based in
Finland.
Finland.
I see.
Yeah. But it's really potentially interesting for the New York City too, for the London.
London, yeah, we're working on it with the city government now, and but it's actually coronavirus is the situation at the moment. But we're just trying to do that. Just targeting on a couple of boroughs in outskirts of London. New York is very sophisticated issues because politics. But I think they maybe first the test bed for the future battery systems based on the electricity vehicle and mobility system will be applied to maybe in Asia right now, probably maybe Hanoi first, and possibly Ukrainian cases. I'm done.
Very interesting.
Yep.
Maybe one more question, guys. Konstantin, do you have questions?
Okay, maybe we can go to the next to complete in 10 minutes. Okay. Ilya.
It will be last question. Last.
Ilya.
Yeah. Hello, Ilya.
Ilya, we can hear you. Yeah, now it's good.
Can you? Okay, good.
Yeah, Ilya, will you please share your presentation with us?
Absolutely.
Okay, and just a short introduction of concept of your speech and what exactly will be like subject of your today's speech. Okay.
Well, let me just. I was made aware it must be a 2-minute speech and then question and answer. I will try to keep it short and I will try to keep it interesting to you. Speaking of robotics in the air, imagine in 5 to 10 years you will be ordering an Uber, and to a landing pad, maybe 3-5 minutes walk from your house, a vehicle will fly in and pick you up and replace maybe a 30, 40, 45-minute commute in the city with 5 to 7 minute flight close to your destination, to a landing pad, from which in another 3 to 5 minutes you get where you want. Integrated with micromobility in the smart cities, integrated with other means of transport. This is the future where we're going. We believe that, as the industry, we believe that today, as a century ago, we transited from horses to cars. Now we are integrating 3D mobility solutions. We're transiting from cars to air mobility. So we are doing the aircraft. Maybe we will be one of the aircraft that will come and pick you up. So we are a core team of more than 20 passenger jet aircraft builders. And we're focused to deliver an electrical vertical takeoff and landing vehicle. That will come in four modifications. So the 2-seater, the 4-seater, each powered by either lithium battery or a hydrogen fuel cell. So Bartini is a carrying wing body which provides lift during the cruise flight, providing the flight efficiency. It has the 4 tilt shift propulsors. Each contains 2 motors, 2 variable pitch blades for ultimate maneuverability, and they are counter-rotating and they're shrouded. So there are several benefits of such configuration. So first, it combines basically the best of the few worlds, of the 2 worlds. It combines the small footprint. It takes only 2 car parking lots while on the ground, reducing the handling costs, reducing the infrastructure burden, getting more places accessible. But it also combines it with energy efficiency of the cruise mode due to the aerodynamic lift. So the flight efficiency is comparable to more evidently winged eVTOLs out there. So, and also, the wider the cabin, the more efficient the flight, the more comfort for the passenger. So we don't have to compromise passenger comfort to weight considerations, structural considerations. And this gives, just let me introduce you to the user experience that you will hopefully enjoy in a few years with our vehicle. And this basically, this combination of comfort, what the passenger wants, the small footprint, is accessibility of the city. These are the 2 main stakeholders, and the 3rd main stakeholder is the airlines. So the total cost of ownership is will be held minimal, and this is what the airlines want, and the airlines are being born, electric airlines are being born all over the world as we speak. So during the past few years, we have been studying our configuration. We were doing numerous CFD analysis. We were building subscale models. So we verified the key technologies and approaches, such as structure, such as composite materials, choice of algorithms for and principles for the flight control, laws and flight controllers, flight control systems. So to date, yeah, I'm showing you all this picture to invite you a little bit into what is happening in our labs. So to date, we have engaged customers worldwide to understand the specific requirements, and we have engaged with top of the world advisors in both main domains that are key to deployment of our technology, and that is urban planning and air traffic management. We have forged important partnerships along the supply chain. We have forged very important cooperation with the top of the world automotive player, engineers and designers that will help us not only to make this vehicle beautiful and comfortable for the passenger, providing ultimate usability and comfort, but very important, making it mass manufacturable. The market will need not hundreds of these aircraft, and that's what the aviation industry is has always considered mass manufacturing, but the industry will need thousands, tens of thousands, and ultimately hundreds of thousands of these vehicles. And this is very important to prepare the vehicle to be mass manufacturable. So now we are building the customer-ready aircraft to be delivered in a few years' time. That will be the two-seater in 2 modifications, hydrogen fuel cell and the lithium battery. So if I close here and maybe we go to questions, this would be my short introduction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ilya. Yeah. Okay, plus your presentation, please. Okay. Kyle, hello.
So this one.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, vertical. Have you heard of vertical?
Of course. Of course,
Yeah.
there are quite a few companies in our field that are developing.
Right. So they actually display their one of the prototypes near my office in London a few months ago. So they're actually collaborating with the kind of platforms called the Uber or maybe someone else, and because they're facing some kind of regulatory offices in terms of the regulations and flying over the sky in metropolitan area, because the safety issue is a big concern for them. I mean, for the government end. So do you have any kind of unique strategy to make this kind of commercialized based on collaborations with city government or central government or maybe city operators together?
That's a great question. Now, there are basically 2 markets for these new aircraft. And both of the markets, they appear because various technologies may enable that. So we're focusing on the aircraft itself. So we're the future manufacturers. For us, we can either sell to private individuals, to general aviation community, to those who will fly it privately, and or to sell it to airlines that will be responsible for massive deployment. Now, Uber is one of the stakeholders that plays in the market of being an airline. As far as I know, they may or may not become airline themselves. What I mean is becoming a certified with the AOC certificate fleet manager for a variety or a selection of aircraft. They may or may not become the real airline, but they will definitely be an important player in aggregating supply and demand, dispatching the vehicles where the demand is, and providing what they are providing, managing the inventory of transportation stock. So with this in view, there are 2 regulations, 2 government. You mentioned that the government regulation is, and that's indeed so. So one thing is to certify the vehicle, the aircraft to be used as private or commercially operated aircraft. And that regulation, I would posit that largely is available. I mean, when you hear in the news that regulation is not there, it's not about the aircraft certification. Most authorities in the world, they know how to certify modifications to old aircraft and how to certify new aircraft, new types of aircraft. There is a route for that. However, what is changing is that the sky, the airspace will have to contain not tens, not hundreds, but maybe thousands and tens of thousands of aircraft. And for this massive deployment of such aircraft as a urban air mobility solution, as a massively scalable urban air mobility solution, that requires not only regulation, but also adjacent technologies that will form the operational perimeter around the vehicle. enabling that vehicle to massively scale and be available on the spot on tens of landing pads on demand. And this is a multi-stakeholder process. A multi-stakeholder process that actually requires people who have never talked to each other, like urban planners and airport managers and airspace managers, to talk to each other. So answering your question, there is not a single partnership that can unlock this market. There must be many partnerships. If you look at what is going on in the world, and we're being part to many of these initiatives, the need to consolidate effort and consolidate and integrate the community effort, the multi-stakeholder process to enable the infrastructure preparation has been recognized in the US and Canada, in the UK, where the general aviation community is so strong, in Asia, in China, in many countries, in Europe. And we believe that ultimately the model for the go-to-market deployment or the go-to-market strategy is indeed the key three voices are the aircraft design manufacturers, the operators, the airlines that will actually sell you tickets and get responsibility for our lives, and the real estate players, those who will own the landing pads and operate the landing pads in the city. So those real estate players may or may not be the cities themselves, may or may not be large corporations, may or may not be private individuals. Different countries actually explore different avenues for the development of such of the required infrastructure. But this is indeed a very good question, because infrastructure has to be prepared now, while actually, quite frankly, not with two or three exceptions, there is not yet, out of all the tens of companies in our field, there is not yet a commercially available aircraft. However, the convergence of trends requires that the infrastructure gets developed and prepared now for them when the aircraft are ready. We have the landing pads to land and take off. I hope this answers your question.
I think another question is, we actually also because this kind of air taxi or the vehicles is one of the kind of platform that we actually mingle together with the mobility system, so like a long haul or maybe intercity circulation. The thing is, COVID-19 spread out is a kind of big concern, because one of my friends in the UK, he actually owns the more than 300 charter airplane. So he's in trouble now. And I believe that at least 20-30% of the airlines around the world, they will be actually just going bankrupt sooner or later. The people, they're actually trying to avoid any kind of traveling around, long haul, of course, and even the kind of intercities. But I assume that this kind of service is definitely between the intercity demands, not in the city around, because that would be too much expensive for the users. So, for example, like here in New York City with Buffalo, which is not enough Buffalo, it's probably Albany, kind of 1 hour range, right? So that might be huge demands. But what do you think about kind of, long-term or short-term risk for this kind of business? And because I don't think a lot of, the progress on this kind of projects or maybe business opportunities will be discussed very, very soon. Because even the aircraft and airlines, they're in trouble right now, and COVID-19 is not, hasn't come to an end. And so I think there may be a standstill now in everything with this kind of concept of the services. What do you think about it?
Well, I think that indeed COVID has revealed a lot about our civilization, about our governance about how we deal with things, and I actually quite honestly believe that had we had this aircraft and these massively air taxi systems available, the spread could have been much lower, and the reason for that being that a lot of spread was happening when people interacted on a commonly shared infrastructure. So the less time you spend in a shared infrastructure, shared space, the less people are in that space. It's the better. And if you replace multimodal public commute in a city that lasts 2 hours with a privately, point-to-point transportation that takes place over 10 minutes, then ultimately you have less people interacting. Ultimately, you have less touch points. Also, of course, the first response use case scenarios, the delivery of vital supplies, the personal protective equipment, and etc., could have been so much better. We're not there yet. Risks are, as in any venturous, technology development, complex technology development projects. They're high for the whole business, for the whole industry, and for individual companies. Now, the surprising. Maybe it will be surprising for you to hear the view from me that on the development side, on the aircraft development side, risks are, well, I shouldn't say minimal, but substantially lower than elsewhere, and I will tell you where it is. Because for the aircraft development, if you have a team of qualified engineers, if you have a team of people who casually, for the past decades, have been doing modifications to existing and new aircraft, it basically becomes, on the technology development side, it becomes an exercise in technology integration, and you try to avoid any new technologies because you actually want to have this aircraft scalable in manufacturing. So you actually use existing technologies in a new way rather than wait for anything to get invented, and you don't depend on any real invention or a breakthrough in any sort of aspects or components. But a lot of risks come from the fact that unless we're speaking about private market, and it's still a big market. I mean, like $8 billion market for small privately held aircraft. It's a huge market, but of course the air taxi market by some is estimated to become a few $1 trillion, replacing more and more of our transportation needs. Now, if we want to get to that market depends, first of all, on a hyperlocal trends. So it's not an international aviation kind of standard. It's rather a scattered puzzle of various rules, various approaches that will be developed in different countries and even different communities. If you look at the US, for example, a lot of differences may come on between the states or even between the counties on how various things can operate. Look at, for example, how the uncontrolled G-class airspace is regulated in various countries, and you will have a feel of the potential range of differences and approaches. And every time, for every configuration, a lot of people will have to agree on how to operate this market, this systems. And the systems will include technology players. I mean, we count more than 20 key technologies will have to be integrated on a city or on a national level. And this integration means that those technologies have to be, made compatible to talk to each other. The regulator, on top of that, there is the regulation. The regulator will have to agree on a way these technologies get integrated. So that will be a very different process in every country. And this is a risk, but also an opportunity, because the hope is that there will always be a most preferred, place. But at the same time, the risk is that, there is not a single, body that will that will be able to give us guidance on how to do things in this industry. So
Okay.
that's
Ilya, sorry, I'm going to jump in because I know we're short on time. So
thank you.
Of course, thank you as well. So just a quick piece of advice. This is a great forum and good to hear a pitch, but at the same time, we all have a lot of questions. So the shorter, the sweeter the answers, the better, so we can get all the feedback to you. Just a quick piece of feedback. I myself am terrible at it as well, so just a note. First and foremost question, right now, market timing. We are not ready for this. No matter what was just said, this is not something we're completely ready for yet. It's still to come and probably 5 to 10 years off. But with that being said, from my view, what's your view in terms of market timing? And if we are so far out, say 5, 10 years, what are you going to be doing in the short term to survive the gap and really start building through to getting to full-scale commercial activity as Jaywan was mentioning?
I think there are different views on the market on the market timing. If you look at what is going on in China, iAngel, the company that was started only a few years ago, that did a drone, basically a quadcopter or octocopter, and did an IPO in December last year, is valued over $1 billion last time I checked. And they are now flying in China using their dispatch center. And if I interpreted the news right, they even did first commercial mission. That basically means that the market may be around the corner, because if it's done, if the practice is being developed and tested, and in one place, it will spread to other places. Now, if you look at what is going on with Uber in the US, with NASA advanced air mobility programs, and et cetera, you would get a feel that the market is something like in 2 years first test flights, in another 2 years commercial applications. So it's actually 2 to 4 years, I would say that. And if you look at Europe, there are programs like in 2 years demo flights with full operational perimeter, in another 1 or 2 years commercial applications. So that we're speaking about 2 to 4 years. Air taxi market, I emphasize air taxi market starting to appear, to show commercial flights in various places of the world. Now, in the meantime, these aircraft, this type of aircraft, can be sold to private users. So, and that is G-class airspace, uncontrolled airspace. You operate it much like a Robinson helicopter, basically. If you have a license, you just go fly. So the market, I think the market is much closer than many think. We are kind of used to think that it's somewhere there in the future. It's actually much closer. That's our view on this.
Yeah, Manana, let me ask the question, because we have a question from our subscribers who actually watch the translation like stream, but they just ask text messages. Can you please explain like your competitive analysis and like your place between the competitors, because there are such big players, and even Peter, he showed like Bell aircraft, there are Boeing, there is iAngel, and where is your place between the competitors? Why customers will choose you between the competitors, and actually who is your customer? It's like individuals or cities, and how they will choose, and what is your strategy to play with these big players and so on?
Well, the questions are big, so I'm not sure I will be able to provide an answer in two words. And of course, I'm very happy to reconnect with anyone for further questions if there are further questions. But answering this one, now, if you look at the industry, the leaders are not the large corporations at the moment. The leaders are technology companies that were started a few years ago from the scratch. And when I say leaders, today we measure it by technology readiness. We measure it by the scale of the model that flies, whether it is the model or a pre-series or proof of concept or pre-series prototype, whether it flew with or without people on board. This is actually a very important indicator. I mean, the size and whether they show that whether it flew with people on board. These are the two things you want to look out for, and then you can understand the current leaders. Now, our competitive advantage. And if you look at the trajectory of how these companies develop from small to large, and quite a few of them are valued above $1 billion valuation at the current rounds or previous rounds that they made, notwithstanding the COVID. You will actually see that the money is available. If you show the progress of the development and there is interest from large players, be that aviation or actually automotive players. So for automotive industry, this device, this aircraft can actually be their maybe even survival strategy in the future when we switch to flying more and more. Now, and this is indicated in the investment rounds that we can see in the industry happening at the moment. So our competitive advantage lies in the team and the product. We are possibly one of the very, very few companies that actually have on our cap table, among our core founders, all the skills from the passenger jet graded aviation, all the aircraft design, engineering, ground tests, flight tests, certification flights, operation, maintenance and repairs, all of the competences that are involved in creating, certifying and operating large-scale civil aviation graded aircraft. So this is very, very important to have such skills, because what we're doing is a passenger aircraft massively operated. The second is actually the product itself. Because we have such team, we can actually do an ultimate excellent product specification, product design. Design meaning not only the comfort and the beauty. Design meaning the working on the key parameter, total cost of ownership, total cost of operation. That total cost of operation is ground handling, in-flight efficiency, pilot training, operator training, integration with other systems, and also, of course, the purchase price, the manufacturing costs. All of it we keep to the minimum. And on the two markets, on the private aviation market, we believe our core competence will be, our core competitive advantage will be the passenger comfort and the size of the vehicle. On the airlines, on the commercial application segment, our core competence, our core competitive advantage will be the lowest total overall cost of owning and operating this vehicle.
Okay, Kyle, do you have one more question?
Yeah, I've got one more question. Let me pull it. I mean, that was kind of a big one, was the advantage, but in terms of country, and you've talked about a lot of different things, so just short and sweet, if you can, for me, is as I'm looking at your deck, where many countries and regions have regulations that are changing very aggressively, as you've mentioned, but where are you starting? Where's your target market? Where are you focused on first and foremost, regionally and country-wise?
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Well, thank you for that. Well, if you want it laser sharp, it's UK, China, GCC.
Cool. Thank you. Daniel.
Perfect. Thank you.
Daniel, do you have a question? Constantine.
Yeah, my question was like, I mean, at least traditionally, historically, looking at the cities where helicopters were more prominent, Sao Paulo, New York, Tokyo, London, they have quite over the years, they have actually limited the allowable helicopter routes. So there's kind of like narrow paths in which like that's allowed. So I'm not sure like how much growth there is, and what is the advantage of a craft like this versus just like the helicopters that have actually been growing in recent years. Don't get me wrong. I just want to understand what's the, the space to growth there, and what is kind of like the cost advantage or like flight advantage, something versus what already exists there and it's growing.
Well, helicopters are a great technology. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we're members to the technology societies of helicopter developers, and helicopters were serving greatly the need for vertical takeoff and landing, for accessing different places. The problem with helicopters is that they are very noisy. They take a lot of space on the ground because of their span of their rudder. They have quite a few critical parts, so the criticality is very high. They have critical components, which if each of them fail, the mission has to be terminated, the flight mission, and they are I mean, the helicopter pilots are the most skilled kind of pilots. I mean, you have to really master the skill of piloting a helicopter. So they are, and that means costs, that means time for training and deployment, and et cetera, et cetera. So helicopters proved not to become massively scalable consumer transportation solution. They remained in the luxury segment, where people would be spending a lot of money for the benefit of flying over the traffic jams in various cities, or accessing places that are hard to access. If we compare us as the whole industry to these helicopters, then you will notice that the footprint is lower, the operational, the skill level, it's more accessible for people to get to operate them. So they will be ultimately cheaper, easier, and safer also. Because of course it's much safer to have many rotors and have excessive redundancy than compared to helicopters. They will be more friendly to communities because they will be less noisy. All of us will be less noisy than helicopters. So these are the disruptive, and I mean, if you compare us to helicopters, we're a big disruption to that segment and to that industry, because we deliver better use case at times lower price.
Yeah, no, those are like very good arguments, and hopefully then that would expand the existing routes in which this type of crafts can operate. So I mean, definitely the noise one being a very important one.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, Konstantin, maybe you have a question.
Yes. Hi, Ilya.
Hello. Great to see you.
Yeah, thanks. I have a very simple question. Tell me, please, do you can show right now a real video with Bartini prototype in flight?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. You mean right now, so or what?
Well, I think the question is, do we have a video? Yes, we have a video.
Yes, a real video.
Yeah, real video. Yeah, of course.
Okay, next question. Lena, you guys, do you have any questions?
Yeah. Like, other manufacturers are bringing up products. Okay, you have I think Boeing and Porsche doing a similar project at the moment. How are you gonna differentiate from that? When these guys step in the market, why would someone, for example, buy X product versus buying a Porsche, you know, vertical takeoff vehicle?
Good question, and I'm pretty sure that cannot be a laser focus answer, except for, again, I can say that we do believe that the lowest total cost of operation, the ease of operation, will be the determining factor in access to the mass market of commercial applications. Now, in the private market, a lot will depend on tastes, on marketing, on comfort, usability. So those are different factors. In the mass market, there will be the ultimate, we believe, will be the lowest TCO. And with that, from assessing like the configuration that is chosen by different aircraft designers, you can get certain feel for the ballpark of where the TCO will be. We can make this hypothesis, and we still believe that we will be one of the lowest TCOs out there. I would also encourage you to, you know, I mean, to assess it from another angle. I mean, the variety of aircraft designs out there. Many would say that with such a variety of designs, maybe the whole industry is at exploratory stage. We believe the variety of designs is because every aircraft is mission specific. So basically, when you do an aircraft, so many compromises have to be integrated, have to be made, so that you actually very narrowly focus on the mission that you have defined for that aircraft to perform. And then for that mission, for that segment, you will be the best. And in different cities, even the situation is different.
What I'm trying to say is that, you know, these guys have their built-in features already. So these guys have done it in the automotive world, for example, in terms of Porsche. They will come up with autonomous driving. You know, that will give them an edge because very easily to apply to other, you know, technologies such as vertical takeoff vehicles. Now, how will you compare with, or how will you compete with that?
We will. Well,
this is just an example. Yeah, this is just an example. The autonomous driving feature is just an example.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have other features also.
I understand that. Well, like I said, the short answer, we believe we have a better product, and that's how we will compete. However, of course, they do have better access to funding, of course. And many companies out there have better access to funding. Many companies have worse access to funding. So a lot of our development depends on how good we are at fundraising, which is not an aircraft design exercise. But if you look at, I thought that you implied the product competition, how we will compete once two of our products are on the market. For that, the answer is, of course, better specifications for the customer whom we believe we understand. We believe that being targeted at private and mass market is one thing. Another thing is using hydrogen fuel cells that unlocks the 500-kilometer perimeter that we can service with our aircraft. That basically unlocks so many more destinations. It unlocks much better fleet management and vehicle utilization rate. It allows faster ground handling, like charging and refueling in hydrogen would take a fraction of recharging in lithium. So all these factors will contribute to market success across different segments that we see emerging for such vehicles at the moment. I hope this answers the question, or you please specify what exactly did you mean. I hope it gives you the idea.
Yeah, I think it's like the same issue like the Tesla or SpaceX, like how it's work for the enterprise companies and small startups and great entrepreneurs like Elon Musk. could be. Okay, guys, thank you for your time. Yeah, and thank you for your great pictures. See you on next week. Thank you, our judges.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for the presentations. That was great.
Yeah. Yeah, and I give you short introductions. Yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Manama.
Bye,
Ilya, good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. Please, please approach me for more information should you wish. I'm always excited to talk about the project. I even talk too much sometimes.
Explore any kind of information about small cities around the world. Let me know. Okay.
Short introduction.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. By the way, Marcus, I'm gonna reach out to you separately because I want to chat a bit more about the application.
Yes, it's actually, I was so excited about this startup. And I give you a short introduction to the Peter too. Thank you, guys.
Great.
Have a great
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.